and welcome to another episode of 5 Minutes with Freed. I'm your host, Michael Freed. I'm a litigation partner in the matrimonial and family law firm of Berkman, Botker, Newman, and Shine, with offices in New York City, Westchester, and Long Island. And today, my special guest is Diane DiResta of DiResta Communications, Inc. So, Diane, welcome to 5 Minutes with Freed.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Sure. So, Diane, tell us, what is DiResta Communications, Inc., and what's your role in the company?
I'm the founder of DiResta Communications, Inc., and what it is a communications consulting firm where we work with leaders, executives, lawyers who want to show up powerfully so that they're confident, clear, and influential in every presentation, every communication. And the way we show up is either speaking on a stage at a conference or a meeting, it's doing one-on-one executive speech coaching, or working with their teams. So, for example, next week, I'm going out to work with a sales group doing doing group presentations. So they'll show up more powerfully in their sales communications. So it's media training. And I also help people have stage presence and screen presence because being in person is very different from being on platform that's virtual. And
Absolutely.
of course, I wrote a book, Knockout Presentations, which is my signature book. And it's everything from soup to nuts.
Perfect. So, Diane, you know that I'm a matrimonial and family law attorney. When would my clients most often require your services?
Well, here's the stretch. I certainly don't get involved in that arena. However, anybody that is a client of yours, most of them have jobs. If you have a job, you need to be able to express yourself well. Maybe there's litigation and you're going to be in court. You need to know how to get your message across. So that would be a time to do that. Maybe you, in your job, you are on a panel, or maybe you are giving a meeting update or running a meeting, because I help people do that. Or if you're going to court, how do you get your message across? How are you congruent? How are you clear? How are you convincing? What is your key message? How do you stay on message? And how do you speak concisely? So all of those things are important.
No question. So important. So, Diane, what's the best way for a prospective client or other professional like myself to contact you?
The best way is through my website, DiResta.com, and that's D as in David, I-R-E, S as in Sam, T as in Thomas, A, DiResta.com. Or you can send me a message on LinkedIn because I'm there frequently. And speaking of LinkedIn, I do have an audio course there called Speaking Confidently and Effectively. So if you go to LinkedIn Learning and you put in my name, Diane DiResta, that course will come up.
Perfect. So now, Diane DiResta, we have now come to the most important part of our show, and that happens to be the question of the week. So, Diane DiResta, this is your question of the week. You're given 5 minutes to speak to the entire world at one time on any topic. What would you speak about and why?
Well, given that we need a lot more kindness and tolerance in the world, I would talk about the importance of communication, especially listening. I think listening is the hardest skill. We think we know how to do it. We don't. We're not trained in school. We're really not trained much on our jobs. And when you really start to listen, that's when communication happens. That's when conflicts are resolved. I remember I was a mediator in my community for a few years, and I observed this interesting experience that when people started to feel heard, when they felt respected, the situation started to turn around. And I had a situation where an employer was ready to sue an employee. And one of the issues was she felt she didn't apologize. And so as we spoke, she realized that she was apologetic and she did say that. And she didn't sue her. So this is powerful. We think of these skills as intangible, but they're not. They really have a tremendous impact in the real world. So we need to listen better. And for your clients, especially if you're going through a divorce, it's hard. But if you can start from the listener's point of view, If you can get into their mindset and start there, you'll have a better time of it. I teach people a process called listener-centered communication, and we spend a good amount of time figuring out what is the hook, what's the grabber, what's the thing that will get their attention, and then what are the benefits? Like, what's in it for them for listening to your idea? And if we could approach that in our everyday one-to-one, we would be so much more successful in our communication and our relationships.
Well, I have to say, Diane DiResta, that was a great answer. And you have said it all. You are helping people communicate in public one day at a time. And I want to thank you for being a wonderful guest on 5 Minutes with Free.
Thank you.